Analysis helps eliminate the emotions of investing, find profitable investment opportunities, and filters out scams. Learn more at tokenmetrics.com. Disclaimer: Tokenmetrics Media LLC does not provide individually tailored investment advice and does not take a subscriber's or anyone's personal circumstance into consideration when discussing investments, nor is it registered as an investment advisor or broker-dealer in any jurisdiction. Information contained herein is not an offer or solicitation to buy, hold, or sell any security. The Tokenmetrics team has advised and invested in many blockchain companies. A complete list of their advisory roles and current holdings can be viewed here at tokenmetrics.com/disclosures.
What is up, guys? Welcome to the Tokenmetrics live stream. Bill is out today, and Ian may be joining us a little bit later, but for me, for now, you're stuck with me. We're going to have some fun in this live stream. We're going to get into the market, right? As much fun as we could possibly have while the market's crashing. But look, there's buying opportunities out there, and I'm going to give you guys my view on the market and why I actually think the risk to reward ratio of being exposed to crypto right now is actually pretty good. Now, there's a lot going on in the world, right? We've got markets in China completely crashing. We've got a pandemic round 2. We've got all sorts of crazy stuff going on, but we're going to isolate for price. Now, as you guys filter in, if you enjoy this content, please, please, please do leave a like, right? Join us in the chat. And if you'd like, go share this video on Twitter, right? We're trying to get this YouTube channel and live stream as big as possible so we can change the world. We can reach as many people as possible, and we can help spread the crypto gospel, right? We want to reach as many people as possible in crypto. All right, let's jump right in just a second. There we go. And I'm going to share my screen here. Let's jump right into total cryptocurrency market cap. We're going to look at the monthly chart here. And one thing you're going to notice is this crash today. I even have to delete these little lines there to actually see the crash today. The crash today is just this little red candle up here. And while, yes, we're on a logarithmic view, so it is a higher percentage, the higher we go up on this chart, it's not that bad. So far, we're only down about 20% in total cryptocurrency market cap for this entire month, right? And September is historically one of the worst months for Bitcoin, one of the worst months for cryptocurrency, and one of the worst months for equities as a whole. And yet we're only down 20% in September. So it's not as bad as it actually feels when you open up CoinGecko or you open up Tokenmetrics dashboard or you open up whatever tracking software you use to keep track of the crypto market, and you just see red all over the place. It's not as bad as it feels. Now, it is scary because there's certainly the opportunity or the chance that we go lower, right? That's always been a possibility. But if we zoom out, and this is something that I don't think enough people do, I don't think enough people zoom out, right? And that's what we're doing right here. We're zooming out to the monthly chart of total cryptocurrency market cap. And what you're going to see here is that long-term, we have been on a very, very strong trend line that we've only violated twice, once in 2015, 2016, and once when we had a global pandemic, right? So what we can see here is that, yes, there is downside. There's risk, right? We're going to refer to our downside here as risk, right? And what is the downside if we take a measured move, if we just fell flat to this trend line? Because, look, guys, we would expect to see support on this trend line, right? We've only broken it twice, right? On rare occasion, and it bounced right back up above this trend line both times. So we would expect to find support on this trend line. And this trend line is a linear trend line on a logarithmic view, which equates to exponential growth. But if we just dropped like a rock and crypto just didn't die, but I mean, just completely fell straight down on its face in the rest of the month, we're looking at a 65% level of risk. That's maximum risk, right? That's if crypto just fell to this trend line overnight and just, it was an absolute bloodbath, right? The likelihood of that happening is very, very slim. However, let's look at the risk if we just kind of trickled our way down into a bear market down to this trend line, about 42%. Well, if you've lived through the most recent correction, that was about 60%, right? We're going to take a little measured move here. If I can isolate this candle, about 55%. You've lived through worse than what we'd probably expect if we came back down to this trend line, maybe 40, 46% decrease, right? We've already lived through that. We've been through a nasty crash very recently, right? So now that we've discussed the risk, what is the reward, right? Because in trading and investing, risk to reward ratio is incredibly important. You want the highest reward for the least amount of risk. And whenever there's an imbalance between the amount of reward out there and the risk, there's probably a very good investment opportunity, not financial advice. But if we look at previous market cycles, we can see that we get these parabolic moves from time to time, right? These parabolic moves we've seen, right? Parabolic moves up to 1,200 days away to fair value, using this trend line as fair value. And what I mean by that is at $16 billion in total cryptocurrency market cap, we wouldn't have expected the market to get back to a $16 billion valuation until 1,200 days after we reached this peak, right? In 2017, 2018, when we peaked at $835 billion in total cryptocurrency market cap, we wouldn't have expected to catch back up to this trend line, to that valuation of $835 billion for another 1,430 days. I know that writing down there is small, but it says 1,430 days. So you would expect to have to wait 1,430 days to break even, to get back to this valuation on this trend line. Yet what actually happened, we actually started running again sooner, right? We actually intersected and beat our last total cryptocurrency market cap peak within 1,100 days. So yes, we are 456 days from fair value, or 456 days until we catch back up to this trend line. But like more than likely, we would come back and pass this before then. So the risk in terms of time to break even, or days to fair value, and the risk in terms of max drawdown to this trend line is actually not that bad, right? And you may disagree. You may say 40% is really bad. And if you're used to investing in the S&P 500, which does see nasty corrections from time to time, yeah, 40% correction is pretty bad. But when you take a look at the upside and you look at the previous market cycles that have been over 1,000 days to fair value and valuation, right, and risk premium, and you take a measured move from the end of the year to 1,000 days out to our trend line, you're going to see that that would be a $7.8 trillion total cryptocurrency market cap. That would be if we moved parabolically upwards, right? So that's the reward. That's the potential reward for taking a risk. So can we go up into a parabolic move? Yes. Can we go down into a bear market, back down to our trend line? Yes. Both are entirely possible. Which is more likely? In my opinion, I think it's more likely that we see a parabolic move, because that's what we've seen historically. And historically, Bitcoin and the entire market has usually peaked with a parabolic move, right? So while the risk is smaller than the reward, and in my opinion, the likelihood of the bad scenario occurring is less likely than the scenario where we go parabolic, the risk reward ratio is, in my opinion, out of this world. And everybody likes to talk about this NFT bubble. Everybody likes to talk about cryptocurrency like it's the .com bubble. But I want to draw your attention to this, and this is something I've mentioned on live stream many times before, but in 1999, when there was 5 times less money in circulation, Microsoft was able to reach a market cap of $600 billion. That's one equity. We're talking about the total cryptocurrency market cap that has not even reached that equivalent level. All of cryptocurrency has not even reached this equivalent level, because now there's 5 times more money in circulation. 5 times 600 billion is 3 trillion. We peaked at 2.56 trillion. So yes, we are in a bit of a bubble above this fair value trend line, but in terms of what we experienced in the past in cryptocurrency bubbles and what we've experienced in the past in terms of tech bubbles, we have not realized that level. And yes, it is dicey. Yes, it is. We're getting into chummy waters, so to speak, in terms of, right, the rest of the world, what the macroeconomic landscape looks like. Yes, it's scary, but that's the risk, right? That's the risk. And I still believe the risk to reward ratio warrants being exposed to crypto. The other thing is, if you just zoom out and you look at this trend line, look at the direction of this trend line. Now, when people invest in real estate, for some reason, they have no issue thinking about long-term 5, 10, 15, even 20-year investments. In fact, when you buy a house, usually you take out a 15 to 30-year mortgage. So it's really easy for our minds to wrap around the idea of a long-term investment when it comes to real estate, when it comes to investing in the S&P 500, right? 8 to 10% average returns over time in a retirement account. But the second we start thinking in terms of 5, 10, 15 years in crypto, everybody loses their minds. It's really bizarre. Nobody thinks, or very few people think about crypto in 5, 10, 15-year long-term increments. We get so caught up taking a look at the short-term ebbs and flows, and if we don't zoom out, we'll get flushed out by a red candle, by a little red candle in September, potentially right before a parabolic increase. So if you ask me, Forrest, what are you personally doing with your crypto portfolio and what are you doing with your money? I'm still very, very heavily exposed to crypto. Now, I am a big fan of taking profits and taking out initial investments and hedging risk. And there's many ways we can do that, whether it's going short or selling or rather buying put options. There's many instruments for actually hedging risk. And we can talk about those. But just as far as risk to reward ratio and where the total cryptocurrency market cap is right now and where it's potentially heading, and where it's heading in the long term, I don't want to get flushed out by a 10 to 20% flash crash. So if you're worried, yes, hedge your bets, pay yourself, make sure you're being financially responsible. Again, none of this is financial advice, right? But if you can't stomach the idea of returning to this trend line and seeing a 40% drop over time, or even a 50% drop if it's more rapid, then you may want to, consider a different investment path than cryptocurrency. Again, not financial advice. All right, guys. So that's my spiel on total cryptocurrency market cap and why I still think the risk to reward ratio is beneficial. Now, last time you guys asked for dark mode, you're getting dark mode today. So total cryptocurrency market cap wasn't in dark mode because we're in a different website, different software, but on TradingView, we're going to use dark mode today. We've got about 50 lines on this chart, right? It's a very complicated chart, lots of lines going on, but what I want to zero in on is just a couple lines, right? This dashed line, which I'm going to increase thickness, in this downtrend line, right? You're going to see that price action since we've broken through this line has been pretty volatile. And I believe that's because we're in a period of expanding volatility when it comes to our two big trend lines. Our two big trend lines are head and shoulders neckline on Bitcoin. We are looking at Bitcoin here, by the way. Bitcoin against USDT on Binance. It's a good judge for the rest of the market and the altcoin space as a whole. Now, we've got our head and shoulders neckline here, and you can see that this intersected with our downtrend line from what initially created this crash, put us into a little mini bear market, right? And what we're seeing is now the space between these two lines is expanding, right? And Bitcoin is trying to decide, and the market is trying to decide which line to go to, which trend line to test. And we've tested this line and failed, right? Now we've found some support on a big bundle of margin pressure levels. And I'm not going to sit here and explain margin pressure levels in this live stream, but suffice it to say, they're very, very strong support and resistance levels. And when you're approaching from the top, it's very strong support. So there's a chance that Bitcoin finds support here and moves back upwards, right? However, if we break this level, there's a couple levels of support that we can keep in mind. One being 37,500. That's this purplish dashed line right here. This is a big margin pressure level extrapolated from our $30,000 support zone here. It's also where we most recently found support off of this nice big Bitcoin move, right? And it would actually, scarily enough, potentially lead to a head and shoulders. Now, we can't get too ahead of ourselves and start drawing head and shoulders that don't exist yet. But I just wanted to draw your attention to that. But what it would also do, if we were to get there in the next couple of days, which I actually think might be a little bit healthier, just to get a little flash wick down and find support on this downtrend line. Because what we find is when we find support on these downtrend lines, oftentimes that's very bullish, and that's called a bump and run. It's called a bump and run pattern, and Bitcoin loves to do it all the time. It's done it historically, and it can launch Bitcoin and any cryptocurrency or asset that follows this pattern very, very high. So that's a little Bitcoin TA for you. See, Ian has joined. We're going to kick it back over to Ian. I do have plenty of TA to fill up this live stream if we want to get into TA and do some more, rapid fire if we get enough likes. But I'm going to kick it over to Ian. How are you doing?
Good, Forrest. How are you?
Great.
So I'm calling in here via hotel Wi-Fi, so the internet might be choppy, but want to come here, check in, see how the whole crypto family is, Tokenmetrics family is. I know it's been a while. I know crypto market has been very, very volatile, but we're all here. As we like to say, when in doubt, zoom out. How you been, Forrest?
Good. Lots of buying opportunities in the market right now. It's always scary, but if you're in good projects and you're in projects that you expect to bounce back over time, projects with good fundamental and technical review scores from Tokenmetrics, then you're not sweating too bad.
Yeah, absolutely. And first of all, I want to say thank you to everybody for buying the book. It's been a pleasure. We even had people buy the 1000X tier of books. We had one person, I think a few people, put in orders for 1,000 books to donate to charity. That's amazing. Thank you so much to the moon and beyond. And be sure to leave a review for the book. And as mentioned before, the NFT campaign is not over yet. It will be ending October 7th. So there's still time to buy your books. Just make sure you complete the claim form on the website. All right, back to you, Forrest. Anything you want to cover crypto-wise?
Yeah, I can jump into altcoin rapid fire here. We can just do some TA. So we just covered Bitcoin, and I'm sharing my screen again. You can't cover Bitcoin and not cover Ethereum, So let's jump into some ETH, right? So again, ETH, we're looking at long-term, right? Let's just start. It's a good habit to get into, right? So often we just start carving up price, and we only look back a couple of days or a couple of weeks or a couple of months. Long term, ETH has this really nice trend line where it did have this period of undervaluation, due in large part, in my opinion, because for the duration of this period, we were in kind of a pandemic. We were on lockdown, right? The rest of all other markets were struggling as well. But we've gotten back onto this trend line, and we're seeing really nice trajectory out of Ethereum, really nice growth out of Ethereum. Now, everybody's quick, for whatever reason, to jump on the ETH killer bandwagon and get really down on Ethereum and say, Solana, Avax, Phantom, all going to kill Ethereum. Cardano, that's the biggest one, right? Everybody's worried about something coming in and stealing Ethereum's market cap, Ethereum's number 2 spot. And while something could absolutely come in and become number 2 behind Bitcoin or flip Ethereum, find it pretty unlikely, right? Because Ethereum has a lot going for it right now. And that's not speaking negatively of these other layer 1 solutions that have really taken off and done a really good job of exploiting some of Ethereum's weaknesses, right? Beating Ethereum in certain areas like scalability or transactions per second, right? Or transaction fees. That's obviously the really big one. That's the elephant in the room when you start talking about Ethereum. However, with EIP 1559, if we go to watchtheburn.com, I like this website now, helps me keep track of the net reduction in Ethereum. I know it's a small number in the left-hand corner here, but you're going to see that Ethereum net issuance, or Ethereum's inflation rate, has decreased by 53%. And I know we've been hammering this home and talking about it over and over and over again, but it's extremely, extremely important, because when we see Bitcoin's, I'm going to zoom out here on Bitcoin. When we see Bitcoin's inflation rate or net issuance or mining rewards decrease by 50%, we see a massive bull market. We see Bitcoin get repriced. Usually it gets repriced because too far to the upside, and then it levels out to a new price level, right? And then we get another halving and it reprices and it levels out, right? We've seen this happen multiple times, 4 times now, actually, right? And that's what's happening with Ethereum, with EIP 1559. That's not even accounting for Ethereum 2.0. So as far as monetary policy and tokenomics go, Ethereum has never been stronger, right? It's becoming more and more scarce. We're also seeing that a lot of the blue chip protocols, while yes, they can be copied and pasted over to Solana or copied and pasted over to other layer 1 networks, Ethereum, for the most part, has the majority of the liquidity, right? And it's got all of the blue chip projects and NFTs, right? And we're really seeing NFTs take off. Now, as far as shorter term price action goes for Ethereum, we're looking at a perfect bounce off of this 3x short level today, right? This 3x short level at $2,915, we wicked down to $2,913. So within actually $1.61 of this margin pressure level, we saw a bounce of Ethereum's price. And that's how strong these levels can be in terms of support and resistance. Now, are they perfect every single time? Absolutely not. But the next one we're looking at, if Ethereum's price can break down below this level, we're looking at roughly $2,550, right? Followed by a big resistance and support level, right? It's resistance on the way up, but it's support on the way down at roughly $2,160, right? Roughly $2,200 to round a little bit. So Ethereum's actually looking quite strong and handling this dip quite well. I'd like to see it bounce, and I'd like to see it get back up to retest its all-time high at around $4,400. And I think it can do that probably before a lot of other cryptocurrencies retest their all-time high. Speaking of all-time highs, Solana still very high above its trend line. Now, if you watch Token Metrics TV, which I recommend everybody does, or you watch this live stream, I'm a big fan of buying on the trend line. I'm a big fan of buying on trend lines and buying at the bottom of channels, right? We had this channel on Solana that had, a couple great buying opportunities at around $20 to $22. Now, Solana right now, after it's just melted upwards, it's in a bit of a correction, understandably so. It also had some network difficulties. The network went down for 8 hours, and I'm not going to sit here and preach doom and gloom around Solana, right? I'm not going to sit here and say Solana's, going away. But what I would caution is, if you're in Solana and you haven't taken profits yet, I'm not saying to take profits in the middle of a nasty correction, but it's smart as Solana starts to get these bounces and maybe starts to channel. If you haven't gotten your initial investment out yet, again, this isn't financial advice, maybe consider taking that initial investment out. Like we said, there is risk that we get a little bit of a bear market and maybe we come back down to Solana's trend line. Now, if Solana does come back down to its trend line around $70 to $100, I would say that's a very strong buy, right? So, a lot of people can misinterpret what I'm trying to say about price action as a positive or negative sentiment about the actual project. It's not that I'm bearish or on Solana or don't think it's a good project. It's just that it's recently 11x'd, and it's usually not good to buy anything after it's completely melted upwards and 11x'd, right? Usually you want to buy when there's blood in the streets and when something's trickled back down to its trend line, right? Which, Solana had a fantastic start to the year, had a very nice run, and again, moved to $56, but it did come back down to its trend line, right? You could have bought it for more than 50% off, right? So it's more about just being smart with your entries, being smart with your price entries. I would recommend also taking a look at the visual trends indicator on Token Metrics, right? Taking a look and seeing this was in the TM grade. By the way, the TM grade flashed very high for this period of bullish price movement out of Solana. Actually, Ian, do you have that pulled up by chance?
The TM grade?
The TM grades or the visual trends indicator?
Let me work on that. Let me pull that up.
Oh, no worries. DOT. Now, we've recently seen a ton of layer ones just completely go off. Solana, Avax, Phantom, Cardano, right?
Yeah. I mean, so one thing I want to chime in here first.
Yep.
So I've been here in New York the last basically 2 weeks, and the big trend I'm seeing now, lots of institutional investors are looking to hedge Ethereum. They're pro Ethereum, they're long Ethereum. However, they want to hedge Ethereum with other layer one projects. So this month has been really the month for L1s, layer one protocols, from Ethereum to Solana to Avalanche to Algorand. And the talk of town at the conference here in New York City, SALT, was Algorand. Basically, Wall Street is FOMOing into Algorand, primarily because it's a great blockchain for compliance and regulation, even to a point where I believe one of the SEC chair people said that they love Algorand. Right? So people here, smart money, institutional investors, have been raising a lot of money. I think last week, Algorand announced raising $300 million for a DeFi fund. Anthony Scaramucci of Skybridge Capital announced that they plan to invest $250 million into Algorand and raise probably up to $500 million to invest into Algorand. And pretty much the whole conference was just a marketing piece for Algorand. And the irony is, pulling up my computer here, Algorand has also been picked up by our TM weekly indices. So our AI, our machine learning, is able to figure out the data based on what's happening in the markets, and it's picking out this trend. And me here at the conference, I've also seen Wall Street pick up the same trend. I mean, so I think this could be the next hedge. I'm not saying this is going to replace Ethereum, but I think as a nice trade, as a short-term trade for a week to maybe a few weeks as a swing trade, watch out for Algorand, because people have seen what's happened with Solana, people have seen what's happening with Avalanche, and I think Algorand could be next. With all the money they're raising, I don't see how they don't do well, because if we backstep, prior to Solana taking off, they raised about 300 million from smart money, from a bunch of whales, bunch of VCs, and then it took off because once people were getting into NFTs and Ethereum, they were looking for ways to have faster transactions in NFTs. Then Solana NFTs began taking off. So I think keep an eye out on layer one protocols like Avalanche and Algorand going forward. Then what was the other question you had, Forrest?
I was just we don't have to actually show it, but we're just calling attention to the fact that the TM grade picked up Solana and so did the visual trends indicator. But the TM grade was very, very high on Solana for a very long period of time. I think from $40 all the way up to its peak at $200 or so.
All right, so let's take some questions here from the audience. Let's see what they have to say here. Yemi says, I love Ethereum, but I haven't been loving Avax recently. Oh, sorry, but I've been loving Avax. Yeah, Avax has been doing very, very well. One of the things that really stood out for me a while back when we covered it, their white paper or white papers were probably the best written white papers I've seen in a long time in the crypto space. I mean, I was very, very impressed. It was thorough. They had a business paper, they had a white paper, they had an academic paper. They had basically papers for all kinds of audiences. And going through it, I was always impressed by the technology and how well they're able to communicate that. Now, I never ended up investing in it myself, but that always piqued my awareness here. Where's Bill? Bill is on a long due vacation. Bill hasn't really gone on vacation in over a year, so he's on a vacation with his girlfriend and having a good time. So we wish him the best. He'll be back shortly. When are we getting dark mode? So guess what? Dark mode is coming in Tokenmetrics 2.0. So pulling up my screen here. So this is the current beta. So there's a beta version of Tokenmetrics that's available to our customers. Right now it's been available to the Pro plan. Then we'll make this available shortly. Basically, in less than a month, we'll be launching Tokenmetrics version 2. This is a much new and improved design. And yes, we'll have dark mode. Right? This is something people have been asking for almost a year now, and guess what? It is coming. Stay tuned. Next question. Should I keep VeChain or move to a layer one? Not financial advice, but I personally would not have my money in VeChain. It has good fundamentals, but technology-wise, not really the greatest thing out there. I think the opportunity cost for investing in other crypto assets is just better in general. Let's actually pull up VeChain here and new Tokenmetrics. because VeChain has, in my opinion, hasn't really done much in this bull run. They have a great community. We have a great interview with the team available on TMTV under 100x Advisors. But looking at this here, if we go to VeChain, let's take a look. So VeChain is up 75% in the last 200 days. So not really doing much. It's done a 5x in the last 12 months, which is not too bad. But there've been other projects. I mean, I think you're better off in a layer one, like, let's say you missed Sol, right? Maybe Avalanche, Algorand, but as a short-term trade. Now, I'm not saying go out there and FOMO and buy this and hold this for the long term. I'm saying leverage Tokenmetrics as a customer. Right, let's pull up Avax and see how this is doing. Because our new improved AI has been picking up all this. Apologies, somebody was trying to call me. Right, so Tokenmetrics AI has been on fire, right? Avalanche, it's great. It's daily grade. Weekly grade has been over 80. Even monthly grade has been over 80, right? And this, in the last month, it's done a 50%. Last 200 days, 120%. But for anybody out there who's trading it, this, to me, I think is a good short-term trade. If we go to Algorand, this one is also has been trending upwards, right? So pulling this up here. So it looks like the grade has gone down, but I think this is one to keep on a watch list. I personally have this on a watch list. This project I think could be the next Sol, but one thing we have to keep in mind is the market moves in cycles. Every single month there's something hot. There's a flashing new object, right? So this month has been layer ones. Last month was NFTs. Prior to that was NFTs back in early spring. And I think one other protocol to keep an eye on, Polkadot. I think Polkadot could do pretty well going forward. They've been launching lots of new parachains, Moonriver and Moonbeam. Moonriver is the canary network or testnet for Moonbeam, I believe. And Moonbeam is a project we covered a while back, had a great code review, had a great fundamental support. So keep an eye out for that. Back to you, Forrest. Any thoughts on Polkadot, maybe?
Yeah, we can go over Polkadot.
Yeah, so what do you think Polkadot could go in the next month or two?
Well, if we just look at its channel that it's been trading in, and keep in mind, DOT moved very violently early on in this market cycle, starting in December of 2020, and it moved very violently all the way up to do it to a 10x to $50, right? So whenever something moves violently like that, it's normal for it to come back down and consolidate, right? It moved very, very quickly. And this is kind of the caution that I was saying around Solana, potentially moving back down to its trend line. Doesn't mean Solana is bad. It just means that its price action has been so violent recently that it might need to cool back down. Now, if we were to move up to these next couple trend lines up here to the top of the channel, we'd be looking at getting back above the all-time high of $50, getting somewhere in the $59 to $62 range for this dash line, which, again, this particular trend line here isn't that far out of reach, right? It's only just a little bit over our all-time high. And keep in mind that DOT traded above this trend line and in this channel for a significant period of time, from February to about May of this year, right? And then if we were to test the top of this channel, which, you know, I'm a big DOT fan, so I would love to see DOT break through the top of this channel, make support on top of it, and go higher. But even if we were just to see DOT move to the top of this channel, we're looking at $100, $110, right? So we're looking at potential DOT prices moving from around $50 to $60 up to maybe $110. Not that crazy of a move, but $28 DOT right now could be an absolute steal, right? If we see DOT ecosystem continue to come online, which it has. It's been led by Kusama and by Moonriver. Moonriver actually looks very good. I'll actually go to Moonriver's TA right now. It's available on Kraken, and you can see there's not a lot of price action, but what we're seeing out of this price action is just this very nice, Bill calls it start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. These stair steps where we see a nice pump, then a very healthy looking consolidation, right? And we're in the middle of one of those very healthy looking consolidations with a pretty nasty candle today, which could be a good buying opportunity. But this is being driven by an external force, right? This is being driven by the entire market dumping. So Moon River also looking like it could be a pretty solid play in terms of short-term trades.
Now, to add on to that, so I'm going to give everybody watching this live stream a hidden gem. We'll kind of cover this, but if you're not a customer, you're missing out, because what Forrest just says matches up with our AI, right? So I just put up Polkadot here on my screen, and look at the grades for Polkadot. The daily tokenmetrics grade, the weekly tokenmetrics grade, and the monthly tokenmetrics grades are all over 85%. So essentially, Polkadot is ready to blow, right? This, I think, is a great short-term trade. Lots of attention has been flowing to Solana, to Avalanche, Algorand possibly, but I think Polkadot is the forgotten child, right? So I think if you're looking for a nice trade with upside in the short term as a swing trade for the next week, basically to close out the month and maybe early into next month, Polkadot is happening right now, right? And last time we had grades like this was prior to Solana taking off, everything across the board looked good. And this, I think, could be the next in terms of doing great as a trade. So next month could possibly be the month for Polkadot. All right, let's take a few more questions here. Okay, so Cypher says, you guys warned of sell in May and go away, and then now Rectember. This channel is legit. Thank you, Cypher. Appreciate it. Be sure to buy the book as well, because the book is also legit. We should also leave a review as well. All right. Which is a better investment? Elrond or Kusama for the rest of the year? Not investment advice. Well, as usual, I would say leverage tokenmetrics. I mean, this is why we built this platform, because now you can get all this analysis on your own. You won't have to wait for us for a live stream. Just go in here, put in both projects, compare them, and see the time frame you want to hold this for, right? So if you're holding for the rest of the year, I would look at the monthly TM grade. However, I'll be cautious and see how the weekly changes, right? So if you see the weekly grade goes below, let's say 75, probably get ready to start selling, right? That's how I would leverage that. Too legit to quit. Appreciate that. Jarek says, I'm very bullish on Immutable X. Have you heard much about it in your ecosystem? Yeah, I mean, we covered this on a project. This scored very, very well. We sent out a pretty detailed report to our customers. I think that was 1 or 2 weeks ago. Is that right, Forrest?
Yeah. And originally it popped up on our watch list newsletter quite a while ago, maybe 2 months ago. And we even covered the airdrop, the potential for an airdrop a little bit, which they ended up doing an airdrop. Or I think it's still ongoing. You might actually be able to continue to opt into it if you trade on their DEX, or not on their DEX, on their marketplace.
Yeah. All right, sounds good. People asking about Armor Finance. Honestly, right now, Armor is not doing much. Looks like we pull this up here. So Armor. Yeah, so right now, honestly, it's not looking good. TM grade is very, very, very low. Essentially, it's saying to sell, right? If you're trading this, it's saying to sell. Me personally, I'm not sold yet. But right now, it does not look good for Armor Finance, unfortunately, right? Then what's going on with liquidity? Yeah, I think the issue with all these projects is they had a very large, fully diluted market cap, right? And that's the adjustment we've made. We have some new grades we're working on for TM2 and also and beyond that will basically fix this, because it's not just about the grade, it's also about the valuation of the project, right? And the inflation of the project. And right now, both of them, they don't look good at all, right? Is it too late to get into Audius? I would say leverage tokenmetrics.com, guys. let's check this out. Let's see what we have here. So Audius, it is loading. So right now, if you're day trading it, the grade is over 80%, which is good. But I would not really look to get into this and hold long term until we see the weekly and monthly go over 80. Basically, what happened with Polkadot, that's the textbook setup, in my opinion, where everything is over 85%. That means it's ready to do pretty well. Can we get an updated tutorial for the tokenmetrics platform? Yes, we have new tutorials coming with TM 2.0 that's coming out. We're planning to launch this hopefully in a week, so possibly as early as the 27th of September, or possibly as late as October. Right now, customers on the Pro plan have been giving us feedback and input on this, so thanks for all the input. Ernest says Tokenmetrics 2.0 is looking clean. Can't wait. Absolutely. So actually, let me give you a mini preview since we're already here, right? So as you see here, everything has been redesigned to look a lot better, and we have even more data, right? We have the indices. We have sentiment analysis. This is something I think the community would love. So we have machine learning models going through, looking at Twitter data, looking at Reddit data, and looking at Telegram groups. Yes, we have our AIs going through, looking at Telegram data, if it's a public group, right? Because if it's public, then it's available for developers. And our models are then backtesting that and try to pick out what cryptocurrencies are positive. Right? And right now, look, based on sentiment, we have EOS, we have Theta, we have Chainlink, and VeChain. People were talking about VeChain. Well, right now, our models say, from a sentiment perspective, the index is positive. Solana is still positive as well. And this can really be used to give you an idea of where the community is, right? Now, just because the community is positive does not mean it's going to do well, right? Because sometimes you have communities that are always positive. For example, XRP community, right? Or maybe a Hex community, right? Then the other cool thing, we're also adding on-chain data, right? So stay tuned. Now, this screen likely will be redesigned, but for now, we have on-chain data for Bitcoin, Ethereum, stablecoins. We have exchange net flow data, miner flow data, stock to flow, NVT ratio. We have some other charts coming as well. For those who want to follow Ethereum, we have that as well, as I pull this up here. So same thing, transaction fees, daily average block size, new addresses. We see here addresses. Let me actually extend this to year to date here to see how many people have been joining Ethereum. So there was a spike in new addresses back in around June. So then it dipped. This was basically this was the crash. The crash was actually in May. If we go back in May, there was a large crash in new addresses, right? So we're working on building all this. We'll have an on-chain grade leveraging ML. We'll have a grade for sentiment based on ML. And one of the cool things our ML has discovered using on-chain data, for example, is there's lots of hype and fanfare regarding stock to flow model being very, very good. And honestly, that's completely false. Based on our backtest with the ML model, stock to flow is overrated. I know the Bitcoin maxis love stock to flow, but it is overrated. And we'll do a deep dive in that to our customers, probably via a report. But we've found a better indicator for on-chain data. Basically, by taking a bunch of different on-chain metrics and having our machine learning model go through, analyze that, we found a model that basically works a lot better than stock to flow. That's the beauty of machine learning, and that's the beauty of having this platform available to our customers. So stay tuned. We'll launch this shortly. We think this will be something that all of you love. And we have one other cool feature coming. We'll have the ability to import tokens from exchanges into your portfolio to track. Because we know that was something you all asked for. You're tired of having to manually put in your coins. Well, guess what? We'll have exchange integration. We'll begin with 5 exchanges for the indices, so Coinbase, Binance, and so on. Being able to just log in with your read-only login and pull in your portfolio on exchanges and make that available for you to track with a TM grade. So, for example, let me see what this would actually look like. This is my test account. Cardano gems. Have we covered Cardano altcoins on Cardano? I don't think so at the moment. But anyway,
not particularly. Not yet.
Yeah, but in that sense, we'll cover all these different layer 1 protocols. We just hired a new analyst who joined the team today, Mehdi. Stay tuned. You'll have a chance to meet him probably on the next live stream. He comes from a family office background. He's helping us really go deep on the reports we create and also the evaluations. But in that sense, this is a new platform. You'll be able to add new tokens. I don't think we've deployed this yet. Actually, maybe we have. So you come here, you can connect to an exchange, and then anyway, I'll just kind of stop there. Let's go back to questions here. Irish says not enough likes. Yeah, not enough likes. Come on, guys and girls, be sure to smash the like button. If you love or if you're pumped for the launch of TM 2.0, smash the like buttons, share this video with a friend, tell a friend to tell a friend. Not being in crypto is a financial crime. And be sure to buy the book. The book is a bestseller. We cannot do this without you. So let me pull this up here. Go to Amazon, put in Crypto Investing Guide. Look at this. #1 new release in digital currencies. So thank you for all the great work. Now be sure to leave a review. So far, we have only 15 reviews. We've sold over 3,000 books, right? So we can definitely get a lot more ratings. Now, I know the book is dense, so I know it probably takes some time to go through and actually read all the knowledge in here. But once you're done, be sure to go on Amazon and leave a review. So far, we have all 5-star reviews, which is great, right? So definitely enjoy the feedback. All right, so is the book in Kindle? Yes, so the Kindle book is coming. The Kindle book will be available probably in a month or two. Same thing with the audiobook. Right now, it takes a while to get the books onto Amazon. Basically, it's a hassle. But the ebook actually is already available, not on Kindle, but if you go to tokenmetrics.com, there's a button that says get the book, and we have the ebook available for free. All you have to do is just put in your email, right? As a gesture to our crypto family, to our Token Metrics family, you can get the PDF version of the book for free. Just go to our website. Then we'll have the Kindle version available on Amazon for those who want to watch this or read this rather on their Kindle, probably in a month or two, and then the audio version as well. So we want to give you as much knowledge as possible in whatever medium you prefer. All right, with that being said, what is next here? No moon phases T8 today. Do we cover moon phases? I don't think we. Maybe that was Bill. Did Bill cover moon phases when I was away or something?
I don't. It's been making its rounds on social media because the last moon phase was like Bitcoin crashed on the day the moon phase crashed, or the day the moon phase changed over, the new moon or the full moon or something. Bitcoin crashed super hard, so it's been making its rounds on social media. I've seen a bunch of TikToks and YouTube videos about it.
Okay, yeah. I mean, first of all, for the record, I don't believe in moon phases. We're data driven, right? We believe in objective data. That's why we have tokenmetrics.com. We also backtest everything. We actually did backtest the moon phases, and it is not. It does not work. Well, based on all backtests, right? It's basically there's no difference than just randomly guessing. Now, with that being said, I know some people do use it. If it works for them, it works for them. But based on our analysis, there was nothing really valuable in it. Okay, Fad says, do you think we'll be in a mini bear market? What do you think, Forrest?
Like I said at the beginning, it could go either way. I think it's less likely that we see a mini bear market than we see a parabolic run up. I'm still thinking that a parabolic blow off top or a nice strong move, at least to $58,000 Bitcoin, comes before any type of big bear market. Now, that being said, I'm going to hedge what I just said with a disclaimer. If we continue to see equities markets completely crumble and collapse, like I know there's a big thing going on in equities markets in China right now where multiple companies are down like 90%. It's a big crash, and that's what's ultimately affecting the markets right now. If we see a domino effect and we see other markets continue to crumble, then yeah, absolutely, we're probably going to see a short-term bear market for crypto, if not even a longer one. But if we see recovery and we see equities in the US and the S&P 500 continue to do well, I think it's more likely that we actually see crypto do a nice little move here, at least to $58,000 Bitcoin before we go any further lower.
All right, awesome. Okay, so a few comments here. I love your TF Forrest, and I love these TM videos. Missing AMAs, by the way. We'd love to see you guys check out Nami. Okay, we'll have to look into that. Yeah, I mean, we're trying to offer as much value as possible. We also do plan to be launching a new and improved version of TMTV, Token Metrics TV. And eventually we'll also have Token Metrics TV mobile app. So basically Android, iPhone, and web. So we're building literally the Bloomberg TV of crypto, literally the Netflix of crypto. So all this content you love. I'm not sure if we actually have the link to this, but I don't think it's live yet. But stay tuned. It's probably going to launch sometime in October, right after we launch TM2. We're offering as much value as possible. Somebody said, what's the difference between the pro plan and the investor plan? The pro plan basically gives you more of us. Right? You want more of us? That's the pro plan. So we have the weekly 2-hour webinar every week where me, Bill, Forrest, and the whole team, Jad, basically has a roundtable. We spend probably the first hour or so just going through the market, going through projects we like from a code review perspective and fundamental analysis. And then the last hour or so is basically AMA, just AMA with the whole team, right? Even the people you don't see here on the live stream, right? So if you want to get more of us, I would say definitely get the pro plan. Then we also have the private group as well. And for anything else you want to share for the pro plan customers?
Yeah, you get the Telegram group. You get TA requests. If you like Bill or my TA, you can just message and, hey, I think somebody asked for a couple pieces of TA this morning on Polkadot, and just little response. Nano Audius as well today. I mean, we're in there doing TA. So if you want access to that and access, it's exactly like Ian said, more access to us, then go for the pro plan.
Yeah, and then also right now you also get all the tokens on tokenmetrics.com, right? Now with TM2, there will be a change in our pricing model. Basically, we'll be reducing the entry level plan, so that way more people can get access to token metrics, and then we'll be increasing the pro plan and also making a new plan to cater to those people who want more access as well. Stay tuned. We'll have more communication on that probably this coming week or as well, and maybe next week as well. Stay tuned on that. All right. Anything else you want to cover before we wrap up, Forrest?
No, I think that's about it.
All right. So any words for our crypto family?
Manage your risk, but look at the risk to reward ratio, right? Yes, things are getting scary. And when things get scary, usually that's the best time to buy, when you're very, very scared. Now, all of that said, be smart with your investments. Does that mean be 100% exposed to crypto, to where if a 60% downswing comes, you're not going to be able to pay your bills, or you're going to be underwater in your investments? No, right? Be smart and manage your risk and manage your portfolio in an intelligent way, but also recognize that sometimes risk is a good thing, right? People in life in general that take more risks make more money. You can't make money significant money without taking risks. That's just a fact, right? So when the market looks scary, it might be a good time to buy.
All right, great words, Forrest. And as Forrest says, when in doubt, zoom out. I'll add one more one-liner to that. When in doubt, read the book. Right? Because this book is the culmination of our entire team's research framework. I mean, this is literally the training guide and manual we give to all the analysts who joined the team. I first went through all this stuff, obviously myself and all the interns. This is literally the guide they've been going through for the last year and a half. And now this knowledge is available to all of you for free, right? We have a free ebook, right? This is not about making money. Go on the website, get the free ebook, or if you want the hard copy, buy that as well. We have the Kindle coming out. We have the audio version coming out as well. I mean, having a rock solid foundation to make you great in crypto as an investor, that means everything, right? If you want to make money in crypto, you have to have the foundation and the education. And this book helps with that. Get the book, whether on Amazon or for free on our website, and be sure to leave a review, right? Tell the world what you think about the book. With that being said, as we like to say, the moon is not the limit, to the moon and beyond. Thank you, Forrest. Thank you, crypto family.